Greetings, exiles. I am continuing my journey. I'll start with a short intro with lucky moments and currency earning strategies. Five mists in the first week. The developers definitely increased the drop rate for Reflecting Mist. Right? I also decided to check out Gravicious because the developers nerfed him. Well, what can I say? The nerf is immediately noticeable because now Gravicious gives divination cards that he never gave before. And his divination card pool is now much larger than it was before, which means that the chances of getting something valuable have become even smaller. Although you can still get good tinks. But without Gravicious, the Syndicate has become much more boring. Here's the atlas for the Syndicate. And basically, it's just alchemy, orb, and go. But while I was testing the Syndicate, I was able to find this precious altar. It's music to my ears. 16 divine orbs. Not bad at all. And more bait moments. I heard that the developers nerfed loot. But it's good that there are no nerfs in my version of the game. But seriously, I was able to earn most of my money for upgrades from T17 maps. I farmed them and sold them. A nice and easy strategy. Here's the atlas I used. And these are scarabs. For this strategy, I recommend the Mesa map, and of course, it should be 8 mods corrupted maps. I also recommend scrying for nice divination cards. As you can see for yourself, for me it was 7 years bad luck in the apothecary. But this is only for strong players with well-leveled luck, and I would recommend choosing something less rare. I also use these scarabs, and they will summon quite dangerous monsters, so be careful. They hit very hard. I also didn't forget about the breach tree. It prints money. Okay, enough yapping, let's move on to shopping. Temporal Rift level 1 but with 23 quality. 23 quality is very important. Enhanced support level 4. Corrupted boots with +1 level to socketed gems. New large cluster. Balance of Terror with Despair and Withered. And the Red Nightmare. Corrupted amulet with additional curse. Now I can add Despair and boost my DPS significantly, plus I can activate Balance of Terror. Unnatural Instinct. Holy hell. Nice shop. I slightly changed my skill tree. Lots of circles. I love circles. New belt. And let's add an extra spice. Lucky Slam. Well, why not? After all these upgrades, I can add 2 heralds to my build and thus increase my damage and map clearing. I also slightly changed my ascendancy because I need more damage and because I'm not fully utilizing 6 portals. And that's a waste of resources. Well, that's all the purchases. For now. Let's see how it turned out. Oh yes. It's beautiful. Cinema. Big and juicy explosions. Just what I love. But unfortunately, there are some minor issues with this build, which I'll tell you about now. The first is mana. You can't cast your spell nonstop, and you need to remember that. But on the other hand, as you can see, we don't need to use our main skill very often. One brand and the whole screen explodes. Enlightened Support level 4 would fix this problem, but I decided it was an unreasonable expense because mana regeneration from our golem significantly improves our gameplay and the feel of the build. Another problem is free gem sockets. There are catastrophically not enough of them. I would gladly add a faster attack for my shield charge, but unfortunately, I can't do that. I also wanted to try a new ascendancy with Spectre Tiger for more movement speed and cast speed, but I don't have any free sockets. Of course, I could remove Molten Shell, but that's a crazy idea, even though its soft core and 6 portals are the best defense. And ailment immunity. That's what this build is missing. The new belt with this unique jewel fixed that problem. But in my plans, I want to using a unique belt in the end-game version of the build. So a rare belt is not an option. So I left everything as it is, especially since I've played a lot with this build and rarely felt the lack of ailment immunity. And a few words about the Foulborn version of this amulet. The curse effect is very strong and it's a good single target DPS boost. But we lose movement speed, and as we all know, movement speed is the king. That's why I use the regular version. Otherwise, the build is very fun. Map clearing is very good. And single target DPS is acceptable. I think it's time for the main purchase. The belt. Since Penance Brand is a physical spell with elemental conversion, Headhunters will give us not only defense but also a lot of additional damage because physical damage as extra elemental buffs significantly improves my damage. Although, to be honest, this build does a good job even without the Headhunter. But if you're planning on using the T17 strategy with Nemesis Scarabs, then this unique belt is a must-have. And a few more upgrades. New wand. First, I need a base. Alteration spam until we get +1 to all skill gems. Regal orb. Bad modifier. Let's try to remove it. Good. New benchcraft. And harvest crafting. Add a physical modifier. I intentionally added a lot of extra modifiers to increase the chance that +1 to all spells will remain. Just what I need. And the last benchcraft. Nice wand. Honestly, it's not the most optimal craft, and most importantly, it's expensive. In the description of this video, I'll leave a link to a cheaper method, so if you want to upgrade your wand, check it out. Penance Brand level 21. And Empower level 4. And the final test. When I started this build, I didn't know what the result would be, because I didn't have the opportunity to test the build. In addition, I couldn't decide on my starter for a long time, and it was a last-minute choice. But as a result, I got a pretty good build. Big and juicy explosions. And decent survivability. Just what I like. Also, our single target DPS isn't too bad. Here's the Uber Eater damage. Overall, not bad. However, this build needs time to ramp up because it's a poison damage over time. But brand gameplay is very enjoyable in boss fights because we cast 2 brands, our curse, and that's it. The damage is done without us, and in the meantime, we can dodge boss attacks. But again, this is a build for mapping with Headhunter, so Uber bosses are not its strong side because we are slightly lacking defense for Uber fights. But for example, the Feared is not a problem for us, And if you get tired of maps, you can farm the Feared. Well, it's time to say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. Also, I would be very grateful for your likes and subscriptions. Bye everyone, and see you in a new journey because a new zero is already waiting.